Hello everyone, this is Adelaide Eternal and you're with Simon McClinton. Here in the booth alongside me is Jackson McCall-Pearce, our famous zoo player in Highlander. We're going to be talking about some Highlander changes. How
Hey
you
guys.
So we have a big change in store for everyone, and that is the recent depointing of Steelshaper's Gift. So if you haven't played Steelshaper's Gift before, it is a tutor that essentially is a 1-mana Stoneforge Mystic without the 1/2 body attached. It basically gets you an equipment. So it's pretty exciting. What do you think about it, Jackson?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Definitely a good call. Not many Stoneblade decks have been prevalent in the meta in Adelaide, Melbourne, or Canberra. So yeah, it's definitely exciting to see what happens with it.
So I think there can be a few changes to some existing deck archetypes. I know that in Adelaide, junk is very popular. We have a variety of different types of junk brew, including a value junk brew. We've got junk using the Dark Depths combo with Primeval Titan in it as well, and Natural Order and that. And then we've also got the Malira combo junk. So all of these, I believe, have either played Steelshaper's Gift or wanted to play it. And now that it's 0 points, do you reckon it's just going to slot straight into them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything that enjoys playing Stoneforge Mystic, just having another copy of it almost is definitely worth doing, and it frees up a slot for the decks that are playing it. So yeah, it should be interesting.
So if there's a free slot in, let's just take junk as an example. If there's a free slot in these value type junk lists, what do you think could be a replacement for that point?
Yeah, it's pretty tricky. Definitely Mind Twist, because that recently got down a point, is a viable option.
I like that, especially with all the mana dorks being able to power out a Mind Twist 3 or 4 or tailoring it to the X equals their hand is pretty strong.
Yeah, it seems just crazy. Could definitely win some games. Also, another option could be Wasteland.
I like Wasteland too. Wasteland is a nice way to attack the format's powerful lands. And of course, whilst you'd want to play, if you wanted to play a way to deal with lands currently and you needed to make a 0 pointer, it's probably going to be Ghost Quarter, and that really doesn't really give you the ability to actually wasteland someone off their colours too. So Wasteland's very strong. I'd really like to see it coupled alongside the Knight of the Reliquary type deck, even though its junk is talking about value and having creatures with comes into play abilities. I think Knight of the Reliquary is a lot more powerful when you have the ability to fetch some kind of land destruction.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the deck that runs the Primeval Titan and the Dark Depths combo. Obviously, Knight of the Reliquary, adding Wasteland into that mix seems really, really strong.
I like it. Are there any other possible additions you think that could fit in there for 1 point?
I think potentially Enlightened Tutor. It is card disadvantage, but it's another thing that could fetch the equipment you want. It could actually fetch some nice artifacts, enchantments. So
I like that. I think that's probably a really strong candidate, having an additional tutor, given that although these are situational tutors, given that you can have Steelshaper's Gift and yet another way to find Skullclamp is very powerful in the main deck. But then in the sideboard, you get cards like Nullrod and Stony Silence to really shore up your Storm matchup.
Yeah, that seems fantastic, especially considering some of those junk decks might not go so well against those decks. I mean, might have some hand disruption, but being able to fetch hate cards, really strong hate cards, could be very, very strong.
Speaking of strong hate cards, I think there's, Choke. Choke's an enchantment. You can also get things like Bitter Blossom, I guess, if you really wanted to just really give a control player a nightmare.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. Yeah. Definitely.
So given that we've got some of these changes to the existing lists, do you think that we could see any more dramatic changes, like the possibility of dropping, given that we're getting 1 free point, the possibility of dropping 1 existing point and going for additional Moxen, maybe not necessarily in the junk value lists, but other lists, for example?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Because there's maybe a few tutors in Stoneblade decks, stuff like Green Sun Zenith, stuff like that maybe could use that just to ramp out fast. Turn 1 Stoneforge Mystic seems pretty good into turn 2 Batterskull. So sounds
really nice.
Yeah.
So given that these existing archetypes are going to change slightly, we also opened the format up with this nice new change to some new archetypes. Can you imagine any nice deck lists that could take advantage of the fact that we've got now a 0-point tutor in Steelshaper's Gift?
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine like a blue, white, red Stoneblade kind of variant, similar to the Legacy deck. I can imagine, being able to fit the Stoneforge package of Jitte, Clamp, and Stoneforge. Instead of being 5 points, now we're 4 points. You get to jam some of those sweet blue cards, stuff like True Name Nemesis, which seems really good with equipment. Maybe even Snapcaster, just for utility, and you can clamp him later on. It seems pretty strong.
I love that idea. I also love the idea of getting to play both the red and the white recruiters, because not only are you basically finding another two different ways to find your Stoneforge Mystic, which then finds your Skull Clamp, but they're really good with Clamp, aren't they? They hold equipment and also they get their skulls strapped to the Clamp on, and then you get to draw cards.
Yeah, seems fantastic. Another way for blue to draw cards. Seems pretty good.
It's making Ancestral Recall look worse and worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can also see a maybe not necessarily a powerful resurgence, but maybe a tier 2 version of a white weenie deck coming out, because we get to have Stoneforge Mystic, Skull Clamp, and Steelshaper's Gift, Wasteland, Strip Mine, all of the good stuff, and pairing that with Armageddon after you've dropped a 1-drop, a 2-drop, and a 3-drop, all powered out off your 2 points in a Mox Pearl, maybe even another Mox just for another colourless source, gives you some pretty nice options there for aggro.
Yeah, seems fantastic. I imagine that would be a great deck for anyone who loves playing Death and Taxes in Legacy, perhaps. Sounds like it would have a very similar build, and being able to jam more points in that. You're already sort of tied up a bit with Strip Mine and Wasteland, so seems good. Seems really good.
Yeah, I like it. There's a lot of exciting developments happening in Highlander, so I'm glad that we've had the opportunity to share this with the community, and I'm going to enjoy seeing some of the new lists turn up.
Yeah, for sure. Should be good.
All right, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time on our 7-minute 7-point series.
See you guys.